Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week, even though it's not the normal favorite time of the week. We get a bunch of new knives hitting the shelves every week, and we've got so many this week that you get a bonus episode. These are the coolest that have just hit our shelves. Let's check them out. All right, first up this week is a new exclusive, and it is an update of one of our favorite and enduring exclusives, one that we keep restocking because you folks just keep on buying. Well, Bestech recently announced a button lock version of the Swordfish, so we had to get our exclusive config with S35 VN steel and the Tuxedo G10 split handles with that button lock. Best part of it is it's still a quite affordable knife for a just about 4-inch blade of S35 VN. Price on this is just under $100. I say nearly 4 inches, but the blade length here actually stretches right to that 3 3/4 inch mark, but it feels and remains one of those big easy knives, that concept we talk about where you've got a ton of reach right here, big full-sized blade, useful shape, great steel as well, but it's in a package that's not too heavy and not too big and bulky. That is going to be a very easy knife to carry around, very easy knife to live with day to day, and not going to weigh you down. 4.09 ounces for this knife, so very easy to carry for the amount of blade you're getting. And there is a little bit of thickness to the handle here. It's not a super slim thing, so even though width-wise it doesn't take up a ton of real estate in your pocket, it still has a grip that you can get a full solid hand onto with room to spare. Folks know I've got slightly larger than average hands, and you can see how much extra handle I still have. Another, what's that, about almost ½ an inch right there. So big hands, no problem on this knife. And now it's even more fun thanks to that button lock. It gives you that closing action where the fingers stay out of the way of the blade. We call that a finger safe action just for brevity, even though now I've explained it. It takes a little longer to talk about. And then thanks to that button lock, you can flick it open, wrist flick it open like I just showed you, or just use the flipper tab. Both of them work great. They look great. They're priced really well. I mean, that is a lot of S35 VN for the money. With that button lock action, with that great design, it's pretty much a winner. All right, next up we've got some more button locks, smaller than the Swordfish and more expensive, but you have more premium steel here. Limited editions of the mini Pyrite from CJRB, all decked out. Like these are, CJRB is technically the budget sister brand to Artisan Cutlery, but these things are not skimping on materials whatsoever. About $168, you've got titanium handles with fat carbon inlays, front and back, 2 different versions there that you can see. S90V blade steel on that modified Wharncliffe blade shape, bit over 2 inches, about 2 1/8 or so. As far as the grip on these knives, it's about a 2.5 finger grip for me. Doesn't feel too shrimpy though, thanks to the height of the blade and height of the handle and the thickness. There's a decent amount there to hold on to when you need to, especially if you're choking up in a pinch grip like that. I can get my pinky finger onto the handle and have a real secure feeling hold on that utility blade right there. High flat grind is going to slice pretty well. You've got a very acute tip for precise piercing, say that a few times fast, and you've got that button lock. It's a little bit more to actually do the wrist flicky thing, and that's just a factor or a function of it being such a small blade. There's less mass to get moving, so you have to rely more on your wrist to send it through its full travel right there. Of course, you've got the index finger or the finger cutout, so you can do that reverse flick as well as a thumb opening, no problem as well. Should make a real nice, just daily utility blade. Like if you don't need a whole lot of length, you just need a sharp edge now and then, but you still want to carry something nice, these are definitely going to be a very nice option for that. Pretty good 5th pocket option for those of you who wear 5-pocket jeans and that sort of thing as well. This should fit in there quite nicely. All right, next up, launching today in limited numbers, so this is one you'll want to act fast on if it interests you, although we should have more at some point, but today at least, when this video posts, The Microtech Mini Hera, or the Hera 2 Mini, I should say, is here now. $262 for this, and it's boasting their newly engineered and revamped firing mechanism and single screw, or sorry, no, this is not one of the single screw construction methods. I was looking at the back and there's no extra screws on the back. You've got a 3-inch blade M390 MK steel, their proprietary partner collaborative steel with Bowler. Double-edged except for this little bit of jimping right here, which technically you could get out there and choke up on if you wanted to, but probably just want to stick with the switch back there. And the switch reveals a lot of what makes their new thing special. One, there's a visual thing you can see there, those little striations or channels underneath the switch. They call that the crud cutter. It basically gives a place for pocket lint to kind of fall into when you're pushing that forward. So rather than it getting stuck within the switch and impeding your motion, it'll just kind of flatten out and get out of the way. It also reduces, the measurable friction of the switch on the metal itself. So makes it a little easier to actuate the switch. And on that note, the cool thing about their new mechanism is it's easier to push that switch, not just because of that crud cutter, but the mechanism itself requires less force from your thumb to use, and yet the blade fires even harder. So pretty cool. Like I said, really cool little everyday carry double-edged blade. I mean, it's only a 3-inch blade, still has some of that kind of, offensive attitude, or not in like it offends me, but it is an offensive, capable thing, albeit in a small size. Check it out right now while we've got them. Keep your eyes out for more batches in the future. All right, next up, we've got some fixed blades. The first is the latest Work Tuff release. This is the Nomad EDC, a Zeke Minacho design. And there were Scandi versions as well as flat ground versions of this. The Scandis are already all gone. So I've got the flat grind to show you here. Price on these about $165, and what you've got here is a handle inspired by the original Nomad EDC, which was, I think it was 2 years ago when that knife came out, and was my pick for my favorite knife of the year, above everything else. I mean, it was an awesome little blade, compact handle, compact blade that could do all kinds of stuff really well. Well, we've got that same inspiration on the handle right here now with just a little bit more blade. Maybe something more suited to your primary belt knife to go with your bigger chopper when you go outdoors, camping or hiking or bushcrafting, hence the name, of course. 3.9 inches on the blade, N690 steel, so solid performing stainless, nothing super premium, but something very field serviceable and very capable nonetheless. The high flat grind on this is going to make it a pretty decent slicer. This would be a pretty good hunting knife. Maybe not the best food prep knife due to the amount of thickness you have right here, but it could pull it off if you needed it to. And being a bushcrafter, you've got that crisp spine so you can throw sparks from a fire steel if you wanted to with this knife. The handle itself has some interesting lines going on, and in the hand, it just feels very, very good. You've got a spot for your thumb to push off on the blade if you want to help orient the tip down a little further. You've got a protruding pommel at the back of that full tang. Protruding tang, I should say. Gives you some more scraping and pounding capabilities should you need them. The sheath itself is Kydex, and it comes with a loop over strap. So you could primarily set this up if you wanted to horizontal carry. If you wanted to, however, throw on a tech lock or something like that, you would be able to achieve pretty much any orientation you wish. Now, if your bushcraft budget is a little more skint than being able to afford a knife like this, how about some Moras? Moras are always a good answer, especially for those on a budget, right? 4 new ones to talk about right now. Actually 5, but 4 are on the table. First, we've got the Basic. Don't let the name fool you. This is just an all-around knife that covers a lot of bases really well. And this is the new yearly color release, some red and green variations. There is the stainless, that's with the green handle with the red intersection, and the carbon version has the red handle with the green accenting sections. $14 for the stainless and $12 for the carbon, so take your pick amongst those. It's got just enough space on the handle for my slightly larger than average hands. You got a finger guard there, which gives you some protection. I always like this knife especially is a great recommendation for youngsters because of the general size and the safety features. but it works for pretty much everybody. You got a 3.5 inch straight clip pointed blade with that Scandi grind there. The carbon steel is roughly a 1095 equivalent if they're still using the same stuff, and the stainless should be their Sandvik 12C27. Both good, tough, field-ready steels for sure. Not too thick. We're about, I think these are like the 2mm blades on these, and unfinished spine, so these aren't going to strike a fire steel out of the box if that's the sort of thing you look for. Same sheath on both of these. They both have the bright green color. Clicks in quite nicely. Whole package is very lightweight. I mean, coming in with the sheath at under 4 ounces. So that's a lot of capability for the weight. The sheath itself has the drain hole there at the bottom. It'll clip onto the belt quite easily. And if you've got another Mora sheath that has the little tabbed cutout on the loop right here, you can even piggyback it on the front right there. All right, if you want a more premium Mora, there are 3 new releases as well. 2 versions of the Garberg and 1 version of the Kansbol. I have one of each of those right here. Awesome handle on these knives. Honestly, especially the Kansbol, due to the weight, I really love the feel of this knife in the hand. You've got this barrel-shaped profile, very neutral in forward or reverse or inverted grips. Pretty much whatever way you want to hold this knife, the handle is not going to get in your way. It is in service of cutting anything how you need or want to cut it. The Kansbol comes in about $39 for this version, and the Garberg coming in with this black bladed version at about $88, although the satin finish is also available. The black version here is carbon steel, that 1095 equivalent. The stainless here is actually 14C28N, so slightly less toughness than the 12C27, but more edge retention along with it. And the main difference between these is, same handle, you've got different blade stuff going on. The Garberg is a little bit thicker and has a full-length protruding tang there at the back. This one's going to be a little more durable, a little more, roughhouse ready, shall we say, with its conventional Scandi grind and that slightly thicker blade stock there. What is this? The 3mm? It's about 1/8 of an inch in any case. I'm not good on my conversions there at the top of my head anyway. But you've got a little more weight, a little more solid feel of kind of bulletproofiness to that. Whereas the Kansbol still is quite strong, but it's a little more nimble. The tang is not full length. I've got some magnets here. We can kind of show you where that ends off. Almost full length. It comes right to the end or right in front of that lanyard spot right there. I'm still getting magnetic pull right there. So still a plenty robust tang, but thinner blade steel, and you've got the compound grinds. You've got this scalloped front section to make that belly a little more efficient, a little better of a slicer, a little better of a hunter as well, because you've got less steel to slice through the fine stuff, shall we say. Take your pick. They're both awesome. They each come with the standard injection molded sheath with leather drop loop. What else to talk about? Oh, we've got on each of them, I'll show you on the black bladed version because it shows a little bit better, some coordinates for the Mora factory right on there. And this is the, I should mention the name, this is the Dala Red edition of both of these knives. Very cool. Yes, both of these knives have been available. These are just new colors, but they're cool new colors. So check them out. Speaking of new colors, bunch of new case slip joints have just hit the site within the last week, and the handle materials are great. I'm not going to go like through the actual knife patterns themselves, because each one of these handle materials has a bunch of patterns you can get your hands on. We'll link you down below to the new 2024 case. Let's just, which one should we start with, Thomas? What do you like?
You might as well start at the top.
Is that the top or is this the top?
I'm confused.
Let's start with the top. Seafoam green G10 shown here on the canoe. Comes with the fish shield right there. Classy stuff. Has almost that Tiffany green look going on. This mini copper lock right here has an emerald green mint. Sorry, no, emerald green bone. I saw mini and my mind read mint there for a second. This one's about $75. It's a great knife. One of my favorite locking case patterns. And each one's a little bit different with all of these natural materials, I should say. The G10s are going to be pretty much the same everywhere. Some of these are a little bit more green. Some of them are a little bit less, like this one. You can see each side is even slightly different. That's always the cool thing about natural materials, of course. This sow belly right here, single blade sow belly, as you can see, since there's only the single blade after all, has a Kyanite handle, a really cool kind of green and white Kyanite going on. And this is actually part of the Sparks series because you can see you've got that, those sparkly, almost glitter-like elements in the case shield. I'm not sure how well those are going to pick up over the camera, but they got that going on. Kyanite is such a cool material. It's acrylic-like, and weirdly, for such a high polished and seemingly slick material, if your hands are sweaty or even if it's a little bit wet, Kyanite somehow feels a little tackier. It's very strange. It's very cool. And now my favorite of the bunch. I love this yellow bone. That's such a cool color. This is the 3-blade sow belly here, kind of a Stockman style orientation of blades. I've always been a big fan of the classic yellow acrylic. On classic slip joints, I've got a case peanut in that. I've had some old Camillus knives in the same configuration. It's never been like a premium material, but the vintage feel, the aesthetic of it, I've always loved it. And this kind of brings a little bit of that to this bone version right here, but it elevates it a little bit, and I just like it so much. Like I said, several different several different patterns available with this handle right now. Some are more or less yellow. Each one is a little bit different. So cool. So cool. Can you tell I like that one?
Not at all.
You should. I told you I like that one. We've also got, what's the official name of that? It's just yellow bone. This official name is dark red bone on this full-size trapper right here. Veers into the orangey pink almost in some sections. Some sections are more deep red. 2-blade trapper, a classic pattern, $70. I mean, this is a working knife for sure. You got your spade blade and your long clip point blade, just ready to work, man. How about a natural bone mini trapper right here? Very nice, undyed. You really get the natural character of that material, unadulterated, nothing to get in the way. And then finally, last but not least, we've got a vintage bone is the series, and it looks a lot like their bone stag, but we've got it listed here as vintage bone. So it's not, it's actual carved bone to kind of look like that stag configuration, but check out the blades on these. Not your typical mirror polished case blades. You've got a blackened finish, but it's still a shiny finish to the blade. What are they actually using? Don't even know. It's black PVD according to our site. Very cool. Very cool. You still get the reflectivity of the metal. It still feels like steel. It's not like a painted on coating. And man, next to that, that bone style, that bone stag or vintage bone, whatever you want to call it, oh, so sweet. Anyway, like we mentioned, we'll leave a link to the 2024 case releases down below in the description. What if you want something kind of classic slip joint inspired, but not really a vintage modern or a modern vintage style? You want something really modern, but you like the form factor of those long, thin, usable blades that these slip joint pocket knives do so well. Well, I got something for you. It is new versions of the Viper Belone, a Jesper Vakne's design. Big fan of this design for exactly the reasons I just mentioned. You've got a nice, narrow, useful blade. 3.35 inches M390 steel for great edge retention, high flat grind, and thin enough blade stock to be usable just about in any scenario you might need for just a normal pocket knife day to day. You've got those other nice premium touches like the crowned spine on this knife and titanium handles with that liner lock, but it's thick enough to be, a frame lock basically, with some onlays on the top. In this case, green dark matter fat carbon, but other versions are now joining the lineup. This knife has been around for a couple years. This is one of the few new versions just hitting, and it is just so sweet. The lockup is nice and tight. You've got a subtle flipper tab there that remains pretty darn usable, and you could hear the authority of that opening action right there. Very excellent. Tail-mounted pocket clip, technically reversible, but it is not going to follow the line of the spine if you flip that pocket clip around, so keep that in mind. I should mention also the price on this with that material, about 213 bucks. What is the least expensive Belone? I should check that out real quick for you folks.
The Oscar Mayer one.
Of the new versions, it looks like they're all running about that $212 mark, and they're all different fat carbons available. But if you'd rather have it with a carbon, just a standard twill carbon fiber onlay, about 173 bucks for that. Titanium onlay on top, so it's 2 pieces of titanium basically. Those are about 182 to start out with. Next up, the Moon from Viper is here. It is a button lock. It's featuring Magna Cut steel, so it holds an edge a long time. It's very tough and it's stainless, an impressive combination of 3 traits all in one steel. And this version is about 198. G10 versions, or sorry, standard micarta versions about 185, but this version is the one I want to talk about, and is the Sure Touch handle, which is layers of G10 and layers of rubber stacked on top of each other. So you get a bit of that stability of G10 while maintaining a bit of that tactility and rubbery grip of rubber without it being just a rubber handle. It's a really cool material. Viper is doing a few things with it, and I like it. I'm glad to see it. Blade length on this bad boy is about 3 3/8 of an inch long. Cutting edge itself is about that 3-inch mark. Crown spine as well, and with the swedge there, it narrows down really nicely, but you still have that crowning all the way out to the tip, which is really cool. High flat grind, especially with the Sure Touch, a super grippy handle. It's just about a full 4-finger grip for me. I technically, you might call that a 3.5 finger grip, or it's more like a 3 7/8 finger grip for me anyway. Your mileage may vary. But you've got room to choke up if you need to. That section is crowned on the front there for more comfort as well. That's just really nice. Single position pocket clip nested into the scale. And you've got very good button lock action and a flipper tab as well. And thumb studs as well. How much more do you want? I suppose you want a thumb hole or a front flipper on there as well. Well, you can't have it. I'm sorry. But there you go. Really cool. Feels like pretty heavy duty for its size. Like, definitely be able to get some hard work done with that knife for sure. All right, we're going to close the video out with a bunch of Kansept to talk about. A Kansept or Concept. I think it's actually Concept.
I told us a shot, it was Concept.
Yeah, I keep saying Kansept though, because it's Concept. If I'm telling you the word Concept, you're not going to realize, unless you know that it's spelled Kansept, that it's not Concept. Anyway.
The auto caption is going to be fun.
So we have some concepts to talk about now. First is the Cosmos, as opposed to the Cosmos. No, it's the Cosmos. $200 for this version. Some versions are more expensive, some versions are a little less expensive, but at 200 bucks and across pretty much all of their lineup, some of the best value for premium build and premium materials on the marketplace. If you're looking to spend the least amount of money to get into some of these materials without sacrificing build quality and just general quality, this is the brand you want to check out, however you want to pronounce it. This knife has a 3.6 inch blade, or just about 3.6 inches, 20 CV stainless steel. Nice aggressive Wharncliffe profile going on. Bit of an upward angle to the blade itself. That's going to allow you, when you need to get close to a surface, if you're dragging that tip along something, for example, it gives you a little bit of knuckle clearance there to get the job done, which is pretty cool. The handles are titanium with integral bolsters. This version has copper carbon fiber onlays, inlays, frame lock style locking, subtle flipper tab there on the back. Actually, let me just appreciate that closed profile while we're at it. It's a pretty elegant look. Let's flip it open. It flips open just fine. No surprise there whatsoever. Milled pocket clip screwed in from the inside, so no visible screw out there. And the edges themselves, nice and eased over, so it's not going to jab you or poke you or scrape you where you don't want it to. It's just going to be nice and comfortable when you're using it. Next up is a new version of the Fenrir. The root of that word, of course, has lupine or wolfy connotations, and you can kind of see that in the blade there. Bit fang-like, bit tooth-like, bit arrowhead-like even. Barky. This is what I was telling you about materials here. You don't have a Damasteel blade here, so keep that in mind. This is just a Damascus blade. I'm guessing that's probably going to be a VG10 based Damascus just based on the look of it right there. You've got shred carbon fiber. You've got titanium, integral bolsters at the back. You've got a milled pocket clip. You've got ball bearings. You've got thick section of lock up there. You've got a titanium, like I mentioned, liner lock with a lock bar insert. You've got front flipping. You've got thumb studs. How much should this knife cost? About 178 bucks. That's pretty impressive, I think. Very cool shape too. It has a distinctive quality to it. It doesn't look like anything else out there either, which is also a feat these days. But it's still useful. It doesn't look gimmicky. It just looks sweet. If it's not a VG10 Damascus, I bet you it's something similar. It might be a 9CR base, similar to what Civivi uses, a 9 or 10 CR combination.
We will confirm.
We will confirm right here. Was I right or wrong? Ding. And it'll say whatever it is up here. We hope. Next up with, looks like the same steel in this case, the Foosa, a detent joint style of knife. Let's see, do we have dual detents? Nope, just a single detent bar on this one. $126 for this one. 3.06 inches on the blade, full flat Tonto profile here, and blue and white carbon fiber on this one. Other flavors are also available, but you've got that cool flick open and closed thing that this type of construction allows. The rounded flipper tab out there on the back works great, and when you're done cutting, just pop it back, maybe with a little less force than I did that time, because then it pops right back out. But anyway, fun, fidgety, non-locking knife. Hard to pull off, but there are some knives out there that do it. Very clean profile when closed. Milled pocket clip here as well. Just pretty clean. Made kind of busy with these particular materials, but overall a very clean design. Not new. There are some other 154 cm steeled versions with G10 handles. Those start at about $72, it looks like. Actually, here's one here just for $66.50 for a yellow G10 with black blade version. So you can get those for a more toned down appearance. It's funny to say after just saying there's a yellow handled version right now. There's also a copper carbon fiber version with an S35 VN blade. So that's going to be your premium blade performance choice right there. Also, a new version of the Main Street, a Dirk Pinkerton design, now with titanium handles with a lightning strike finish going on and the crossbar lock. $166 for this. S35 VN steel, 3.36 inches, Wharncliffe shape. Yeah, we'll say that's Wharncliffe. It leans more Wharncliffe than sheepsfoot in any case. Real powerful feeling knife in the hands. Not too thick, but thick enough to feel sturdy, and the titanium slabs on the handle give you more of that sturdy feel right there. Deep carry pocket clip, single position. Unfortunately, it is not reversible. So despite the lock being lefty friendly, you're not gonna be able to swap the lock onto that side. So take that with a grain of salt. If you are a lefty, I apologize there, but man, it feels so good. And the action is exactly what you want. Ball bearings, I think, in this pivot. Yeah, good stuff. And last but not least, we've got new versions of the Kryo, some inexpensive and some more expensive versions. We'll start with the more expensive version here. S35 blade, Nebula fat carbon handles, 3.6 inches on that blade, 150 bucks. Not too shabby. And the least expensive ones, actually, I'm really digging, 60 bucks. Same size, same shape, 12C28N blade. Interesting. I know there's 14C28N. I know there's 12C27. I'm not familiar with 12C28N. It says it on the blade too. It's right there on the blade. Well, it's going to be in that family of steels in any case. The performance shouldn't be too far out of bounds from the 12C27, I would imagine. But check it out, man. 60 bucks, 3.6-inch blade, really cool drop point shape. Micarta handles, blue in this case, other versions are available. Great feel in the hand. You've got a deep carry clip. You've got an inset liner lock. Nice little touch right there, a little bit more premium feeling. Ball bearings for snappy action, whether you're using the flipper tab or that reverse flick. Lot to like about this knife, especially at that price. All right, that's all I've got to show you at this point of the week. Make sure to stick around on Thursday for our regularly scheduled New Knives of the Week feature, where we're gonna have another full table to talk about. There's just a lot of new stuff hitting the site right now. So go ahead and check it out. Let me know what you thought of the knives in the comments, and to get your hands on them, links in the description. As always, will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, because the least we can do when you buy a knife today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, and that's Thomas behind the camera, and we are signing off for now. See you next time.